In 2010, a team of biologists led by Svante Pääbo at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology made a discovery that reshaped our understanding of human history. Their research revealed that early modern humans did not simply coexist with other ancient human relatives, they also interbred with them. Even more surprising was another finding. Researchers uncovered genetic evidence suggesting that traces of an unknown human species might still exist within modern human DNA. This challenged the long-accepted view of a straightforward human evolutionary timeline. For decades, most scientists believed human evolution followed a clear path, gradually progressing from earlier hominids to anatomically modern humans. But new genetic research paints a far more complex picture. Instead of a single line of evolution, our ancestors may have crossed paths, and even shared genes, with several different human groups. The possibility of interbreeding between modern humans and Neanderthals has sparked years of scientific debate. Some researchers argue that if different human species lived side by side, genetic mixing would have been almost inevitable. Anthropologist Dr. John Hawks from the University of Wisconsin conducted an extensive study of ancient and modern human DNA. His findings were remarkable. When comparing DNA from people who lived around 3000 BC with that of people today, he discovered that the human genome had changed by nearly 7%. Even more astonishing was the speed of that change. According to his research, human DNA evolved during the last 5,000 years at a rate nearly 100 times faster than in any previous period of similar length. This dramatic acceleration has led to countless questions. What could have caused such rapid genetic changes in such a relatively short span of history? Some researchers have proposed highly unconventional ideas. Among them is the controversial suggestion that contact with extraterrestrial beings may have influenced human genetics. While this remains outside mainstream science, supporters of the ancient astronaut theory argue that it could explain unusual changes found in our DNA. They also point to ancient myths and religious traditions from around the world. Many cultures tell stories of gods, celestial beings, or supernatural visitors forming relationships with humans and producing offspring. Folklore from countless civilizations contains remarkably similar themes. Whether these stories describe divine beings, spirits, or mysterious visitors from the heavens often depends on the beliefs of the culture that preserved them. Supporters of the ancient astronaut theory believe these accounts should not be dismissed as simple myths. Instead, they argue that such stories may represent real encounters with advanced beings that ancient people could only describe using the language and beliefs of their time. If humanity has truly experienced contact with visitors from beyond Earth, an obvious question follows: why did they come? Some theorists believe the answer may lie in one of the Bible's most mysterious stories, the account of the fallen angels. Ancient scriptures describe rebellious heavenly beings who descended to earth, took human women as their wives, and fathered children. Although the book of Genesis briefly mentions this event, the story is explored in much greater detail in the ancient book of Enoch. According to that text, around 200 angels defied God's command, descended to earth, and had children with human women. The story has fascinated historians, theologians, and researchers for centuries. The Book of Enoch, written before the time of Jesus, was eventually excluded from the biblical canon during the 4th century. Many scholars believe its controversial descriptions of angels interacting with humans contributed to its removal. Still, these accounts raise an important question. If angels are purely spiritual beings, how could they physically reproduce with human beings? Some religious scholars argue that these passages should not be interpreted literally. Others suggest the ancient descriptions may refer to physical beings that people of the time simply identified as angels because they lacked another way to describe them. Those who support the ancient astronaut theory take this idea even further. They argue that if these visitors possessed bodies compatible with humans, then genetic interaction would have been biologically possible. According to this interpretation, the purpose of these encounters was not romance or pleasure, but the deliberate manipulation of the human genetic line, ****part 2****. In 2003, scientists reached one of the greatest milestones in modern biology when the Human Genome Project successfully mapped nearly all 25,000 human genes. For the first time in history, researchers had a complete genetic blueprint of the human body, opening the door to discoveries that had once seemed impossible. Just a few years later, researchers at the University of California, Santa Cruz identified a unique section of DNA known as HAR1. Unlike most genetic sequences shared with other animals, HAR1 appeared to be exclusive to humans and is believed to play a vital role in the development of the human brain. The discovery immediately raised new questions. How did this remarkable gene appear? Was it simply the product of natural evolution, or could there be another explanation? Some researchers have pointed to the work of Nobel Prize-winning scientist Francis Crick, one of the co-discoverers of DNA's double helix structure. Crick argued that the origin of such an incredibly complex molecule could not easily be explained by random chance alone. To illustrate the odds, he famously compared it to a hurricane passing through a junkyard and somehow assembling a fully functional jumbo jet. In his view, the spontaneous formation of DNA within Earth's early environment seemed extraordinarily unlikely. These arguments have inspired some theorists to suggest that DNA may have been intentionally designed or influenced by an advanced intelligence. Supporters of the ancient astronaut theory take this idea even further. Rather than asking whether extraterrestrials resemble humans, they reverse the question entirely. Could it be that humans resemble extraterrestrials because our ancestors were genetically modified long ago? According to this theory, advanced beings may have introduced carefully targeted genetic changes that eventually transformed early hominids into modern humans. Others believe that the answers may still be hidden within our own DNA. Although scientists have decoded the human genome, much of its purpose remains only partially understood. For many years, large portions of human DNA were labeled as junk DNA because no obvious function could be identified. While modern research has shown that much of this DNA actually serves important regulatory roles, many questions about its full purpose remain unanswered. Some researchers believe that decoding every part of the genome could eventually reveal unexpected information about humanity's origins. Whether those discoveries support conventional evolution or uncover entirely new mysteries remains an open question. Another fascinating idea proposes that if an advanced civilization wanted to leave a message for future generations, DNA would be the perfect place to hide it. Unlike books or monuments, genetic information is passed from one generation to the next, preserving its contents for thousands of years. The discussion then shifts from genetics to one of history's most controversial subjects, alien abduction. In 1965, newspapers across the United States reported the extraordinary story of Betty and Barney Hill, a married couple who claimed they had been abducted by extraterrestrials while driving through New Hampshire. Their account became one of the most famous UFO cases ever recorded. In the decades that followed, thousands of people around the world came forward with similar stories. Many described mysterious medical examinations, missing time, and strange beings often referred to as the Greys. A recurring detail in many of these reports is the claim that biological samples, particularly blood or DNA, were collected during these encounters. According to ancient astronaut theorists, this repeated focus on human genetics suggests that any alleged visitors may have been interested in studying or even modifying human biology. Whether these accounts represent genuine experiences, psychological phenomena, or simple misunderstandings remains a subject of intense debate. However, one biological mystery frequently mentioned alongside these stories is something that undeniably exists in science: the Rh blood factor. Back in 1940, Nobel Prize-winning scientist Carl Landsteiner made another groundbreaking discovery when he identified the Rh factor, a protein found on the surface of red blood cells. This discovery became one of the most important advances in modern medicine. People who carry this protein are classified as Rh positive, while those who lack it are considered Rh negative. Although scientists understand how the Rh factor functions, they still cannot fully explain why Rh negative blood developed in the first place or why it remains relatively uncommon compared to Rh positive blood. The Rh factor is medically significant because if an Rh-negative person receives Rh-positive blood, the immune system can recognize those blood cells as foreign and launch an immune response. A similar issue can arise during pregnancy. If an Rh-negative mother is carrying an Rh-positive baby, her immune system may treat the fetus as foreign unless appropriate medical treatment is provided. Fortunately, modern medicine has made this condition highly manageable. Despite decades of research, the evolutionary origin of Rh-negative blood continues to intrigue scientists. Ancient astronaut theorists point to another unusual observation. They claim that a surprisingly large number of individuals who report alien abduction experiences also happen to have Rh-negative blood. Although no scientific evidence has established a causal connection, the coincidence has fueled years of speculation among UFO researchers and believers alike.